Would you want to reinvent a legendary game series? Of course you would, but you have to be ready to take some heavy blows, quite a lot of them in fact, and just keep on working. That's what happened to us when we made Evil Empire's first game, The Rogue Prince of Persia, and this is how it went. Back in 2020, after the success of our live ops work on Motion Twin's Dead Cells, we met with Ubisoft for a casual dinner at an industry event. Someone from our team decided to go full pedal to the metal and just asked, why not take our knowledge from making Dead Cells and use it to make a 2D action platformer in the Prince of Persia series? And Ubisoft didn't say no. Obviously, we didn't make a deal right there and then, but after a few months, Ubisoft accepted our pitch, which was an action roguelike with 2D fast-paced combat, parkour movement, and a branching narrative. We were going to work on a Prince of Persia game. Call us boomers, but for us, that's a childhood dream come true. Of course, one of the first systems we had to experiment with was the time rewind, the iconic mechanic that we all associate with Prince of Persia. We could make it happen in-game, but it slowed down the fast gameplay too much, which just wasn't satisfying, and it tanked the performance in-engine. As both developers and fans of the series, that was a tough pill to swallow, especially so early in the development process, but we had to move on. So for the next 2 years, the team focused on building a game centered around a 2D parkour system, seamlessly mixing responsive traversal and tight combat with a unique all-run mechanic. We basically ended up with the Sands of Time in 2D, which is pretty awesome. Then, in May 2024, we're about to launch the game, and boom, the most anticipated action roguelike of the year drops right before us. That was a bit of a hit, but we couldn't do much about that, so we launched into early access on Steam a few weeks later, and there we had another hit. The immediate feedback was honest, direct, and not amazing. Players saw potential in the gameplay, but felt that the content lacked variety and depth. And if we're being honest, they were right. Others, well, let's just say they weren't fans of the art direction. We had actually wondered about this purple problem before. During a brainstorming session about skins, our art director had raised a seemingly innocent question. Are we sure that making the prince purple won't be a problem? Huh? At the time, everyone told him no, he was overthinking it. Colours are cool, they're stylish, it adds a bit of fantasy. Well, now we all know how that turned out. But that's the nature of early access. You launch, you listen to player feedback, and then you adapt to create the best possible version of your vision. Even though player count was low, we still believed in the game. So we set up a battle plan, tackle all the content that the players thought were missing, while at the same time setting up something which is very rare in game development, a complete, top-to-bottom overhaul of the art direction. To give some context, our original inspiration for the art style was based on Persian miniatures, which are flat perspectives, stylized shapes, and bold, unexpected colors. We had mixed this with inspirations from the French graphic artist Moebius, such as clear lines, flat colors, and strong contrast between the foreground and the background. This led us to an art style that was too minimalist and too colorful for fans of both action roguelikes and Prince of Persia. It was our mistake, but since we could change it, we didn't waste any time. As we kept adding to the game's content through monthly updates, our artists got to work behind the scenes. So by November 2024, we had released 7 updates in 5 months. Adding tons of new enemies, a new biome, better progression systems, tripling a number of weapons, and improving the general traversal and combat game feel. Everything that the players thought was missing. Then, in November, we dropped the second act update. Or at least we tried to. To validate the release on Steam, a confirmation text was required. Usually that's no big deal, but for some random reason, Steam refused to work unless a Spanish number was used. What? Don't ask us why, no hablo español. Everyone was panicking for a good couple of hours as we'd kind of hyped up this update, but luckily, we had a Spanish dev on the team. Hola. David became our hero, managing to unlock the situation late at night with his Spanish number. Since then, we have a slogan in the team: Steam doesn't like the French. Anyway, the art rework we've been setting up for months was finally released, and the prince left purple behind once and for all. And we also dropped 2 new biomes, 2 bosses, and a whole new story arc. There was a lot of positive reaction to the changes, and we personally could see that the game was much better, even if we still weren't making huge waves. All that was missing now was polish and content. So since then, we have been improving everything that we can, getting ready for 1.0, where we'll finish the story and tie everything off with a bow. And through all those problems and roadblocks, we've had a great community giving us a helping hand the whole way. Even when it was clear we had a ton of work to do, they've been there giving us support, feedback, and encouragement. So a special shout out to you guys for sticking with us on our crazy journey. And that's the end of the story of the Rogue Prince of Persia. We have no idea what to expect for 1.0, aside from us throwing a hell of a party, because it's our first game we've ever released. But we can definitely say that we are proud of everything that we have done to get here. Here's a taste of the final result.